Howdy, howdy. Welcome to the Humans Aren't Real podcast. I'm Wolf and with me is Frylock. Today's episode is Bollywood movies. The two that we'll be discussing will be Boss and Happy New Year. Let's start off with the basics. Fry, thoughts on Bollywood movies?
Got to be honest, I'm a little frustrated
Mm-hmm.
that I'm watching them because it's just musicals, dancing. It just is so out of place for me,
Uh-huh.
and it's hard to get past it. But I will say that there are some things about both these movies that we've watched that I actually really love.
Mm-hmm.
But even though the second one we watched, the Happy New Year, was it was more appropriate to have like song and dance, it still was just like too much for me. But it's not a bad experience overall. They are enjoyable movies.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the music, like the singing and dancing, just goes on a little too long for me. Like I said, the second one, it was more appropriate, so I didn't really lose my patience with it as quickly. But I did at one point look and go like, all right, why is this song still playing?
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, I guess I'm introducing you to the world of Bollywood movies. And I
Very
picked
much so.
two of them that are really fun. The story is really good. The songs are entertaining. They're like special effects, I guess you'd say. Practical special effects are highly entertaining. All the things they're doing in the movies are just exaggerated. Um,
Like
yeah,
it's definitely all that's like, I'm not saying it's definitely not bad. And that is one of the things that I really liked about it. Like both of them, the stories were awesome. Like I thought the stories, I wish they would have gotten into the story more. I feel like there's more story to be told. Like they did a really good job with making the stories interesting and also kind of telling it to you in an interesting way.
yeah.
Is it was just, and even like just kind of, that's the one thing when I first started watching like international movies or foreign movies when I was younger, it was like the Japanese and the Korean movies that I was watching a lot of. And it's because they kind of did this just overemphasis on things that just made situations, it almost felt like kind of like an anime style, just kind of over the topness. And that's one of the things I do like about both of these as well. It's
Hmm.
just I might have to really watch a lot of them and then just finally give in because I it's just eventually I'm gonna find one with the music that I like, and then
Hmm.
that's when I'm gonna probably be more accepting of the the dance scenes and the music videos. But
It'll take time. Like at the beginning, like the offset of starting watching Bollywood movies is kind of jarring. Having like a musical number in the middle of like a dramatic scene or like a big battle, then it's like dance battle, or it's like
yeah,
this romance is building with him and a character, and then they go into this like highly over dramatic musical love, like it's kind of a bit of storytelling in the I guess music video or the song and dance part of it.
I can see that to an extent, and we partially had this conversation. there are
Yes.
several times
Hmm.
where to me I'm kind of like I'm trying to pay attention to what the song is to see what it adds, and I'm like I already kind of inferred that from what I just saw.
Hmm.
Like I already made that assumption that everything you're saying in this song is true. They're just saying it in a different way that I might have thought about it. Like it's almost playful and just silly, some of the lyrics sometimes, but it is kind of like
Hmm.
there is a point to it. But it's like, well, yeah, I thought of it, but just not in the way they're displaying it.
Yeah.
And
Like
I'm like,
the Happy New Year one when he's getting to know the girl and they're like every time they touch, like stuff sets on fire because they're so like passionate, I guess, or in love or whatever. And through the like song and dance routine, they're like walking around like in train tracks. I guess they're like training. And every time they're like get close, the other guys are like, "What the heck?" Things are like catching fire, and they're like trying to stop it. But every time they're singing, they keep getting closer, and more things catch on fire. It's just so comedic and hilarious, and is part of the story, and it was development all wrapped up in a song and dance routine.
like that one specifically, the whole setting stuff on fire, I just thought was weird.
You didn't think that was funny?
I mean, it was, but I felt like it went on a little too long.
Yeah, but that was that setup in the beginning there was like gimmicks throughout the whole movie of them coming together anytime. The other guys would like start getting like fire extinguishers or they're like, no, we can't burn the whole set down or something random.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it, they would randomly do it throughout the movie after that.
Yeah. See, maybe if I caught on that, it would have been a different story. But yeah, I didn't catch any of that. Like, it didn't even dawn on me. I didn't even notice they were really doing that.
Yeah, anytime they get close together, they set stuff on fire. Not like in the later part when they're wrapping up, but like still like the connection of them to building.
Hmm. But I will say one of the things I really really liked that kind of like an ongoing joke was like every time he would basically start bad mouthing this lady,
Yeah.
everybody's like the first time nobody really
Yeah.
says anything. They're just kind of like raising their hand, and he's just like, "No, listen to
Yeah.
what I'm saying."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then like the second time, they actually say like, "Hey, hey," and he's
Yeah.
like, "No, listen to me." He's like, "But you should no wait," and then he just cuts him off,
Uh-huh.
and he does it like the
He does it
third
again.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does it like four times, and it's like each time you know he's doing it,
Yeah.
but it's like the reveal of him realizing he did it and his reaction to him doing it again. Like,
Yeah. It's like the biggest foot and mouth
oh,
situation.
it was so funny. Like the the third time he did it, I immediately was like, "She's right there. She's right there the whole time," and
Yeah.
just his reaction to like getting caught again, that was just hilarious. And everybody's trying to interrupt him, like actually trying, and he's still cutting them off. It was just like, ugh,
Yeah, that's
ridiculous.
we'll get into that a little bit later, but having those situations were just comedic gold. There was a lot of like in their storytelling, the beginning always has like some buildups for the story in both of the movies. Like, and it was like pivotal, like story arc things in the beginning. So one is like his dad's in jail, and the other one is like his dad kicks him out uh, and banishes him, basically. But it comes around in the end of like the story, and it's like, well, this is what actually happened, or this is the true situation that happened, and it's like, oh dang, that's a lot worse. Or yeah, okay, no wonder he's still upset and gets everyone riled up.
Yeah. I will say the boss one, it did have its moments, especially story wise. Like I really thought that the story was really really good, and it
Yeah,
almost felt like they were trying to hide something and give you a reveal, but they were also showing you at the
yeah,
same time. It was really weird how it gave me that feel like I knew what was going on, but
yeah,
when they kind of told me, it felt like a reveal, and then I'm like, but I kind of knew, but it felt like I didn't know. It was really clever the way they did it.
yeah. Um, so let's get into just like song and dance. Uh, in general, I guess in movies. So we talked a little bit about this. Like there's Scrooge that kind of is a musical that I enjoy very much, and Phantom of the Opera, 2004, I think was the year, with Gerard Butler, which is awesome.
I
And
still can't imagine him in a musical.
with a sound system, it sounds amazing. Just like when they got the organs going and it's just filling the room up with music, awesome. It's a great experience. And then you have your issue with a classic, Grease Lightning.
It's, it's just so annoying.
It's not annoying.
It's not. It's like the worst part of the movie.
The songs,
Yes.
and yet they're also catchy.
I mean, I guess I can see how they're kind of catchy, most of them, but
Yeah.
they're annoying in my opinion. Like if I hear it once too many times
Uh-huh.
in like a month, I'm instantly annoyed. Like I can maybe occasionally hear a song from Greece every other year or so, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a catchy song. But if I hear it like twice in a week, I'm gonna lose my
Hmm.
mind.
Well, that's very good to know, Fry.
Oh, don't even. I'll ignore you. I'll ignore everything. I, I will block you. I will ignore you. I will no longer come around you. I'll have to find somebody else to help me.
I know exactly what I need to send you. Okay.
Now you know how to keep me away from you. If you're like, I'm busy, leave me alone.
Yeah, yeah. Send you musical numbers.
Just be like, hey, come here, listen to this song.
But there was one that you told me that you liked, and I haven't seen.
Yes.
Uh, which one was it?
It's called Repo Man. Repo Man, the Genetic Opera. Let me
Repo
pull.
Man. Genetic
Yeah,
Opera.
I should have had it. IMDb. It is it's actually a movie that my wife crap, I'm a really bad typer. My wife
Generic
actually
Opera.
she wanted to watch it. I can't remember where she saw it, but she was like, "Hey, I want to see this movie," and I'm like, "Okay, what's it about?" And she's like, "Oh, well, it's basically like these people have to take a loan to get a organ transplant, and if they can't pay their loans, then the repo man comes and
Their
the
organ.
repos their organ." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds awesome." And she's like, "But it's a musical." I was instantly, "Nah, I don't want to watch that." Like, I do not want to watch that. I have no interest in watching that at all. And she's like, she really wanted to watch it. And I was like, all right, you know what? Like, kind of looked like it might have been kind of like a gritty horror movie style almost to it. So we went ahead and watched it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the songs are very catchy.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's one that I don't really care for, and most of them like I'm not like a big fan, but they're catchy enough that they don't make me like not want to watch the movie. Like I'm totally good with it. Like I can, bob my head and, kind of be like, all right, this ain't bad. And then when it's over, it's over. And it's a good story. It's entertaining. It's one of the few that actually kind of got me. Besides maybe like random TV shows that have done like really silly like musical type numbers because that's what everybody was doing there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Taking that out of it, this is like one of the few musicals that I'm like, okay, I would actually recommend that to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Do you
no, it's
often
called
watch?
Repo. I'm sorry, it's called Repo, the genetic opera. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Because there is a movie called Repo Man
Yes, and
that
it's
is a similar thing.
similar idea. Yeah, I know that. Trust
Okay,
me, as
okay.
soon as that movie came out, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I've already seen this. Trust me, dude. I've had this conversation when that movie came out with so many people.
Yeah.
I was telling everyone, like, that's basically already a movie.
This is without the music.
Yeah, yeah. Which, I mean, seems like a movie I would want to watch, but at the same
Uh-huh.
time, I do kind of feel like it's just a ripoff of something that I think is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I've already seen the good one, you know what I mean? So I've just never watched it, never had interest in it.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's something we could watch.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't say no.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. There was another one that you were talking about that you saw that I didn't.
Oh,
It was,
musical?
yeah, it was like a singing one.
Oh, Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect. Yep.
Yeah. I hate to admit that those all of them, I think there's like 3 of them. They're all thoroughly entertaining because they're so funny. Like I think they're really, really funny. And
So
some of
you
it's
watched more than one?
I've seen all 3 of them.
More than
Like
once?
handful of times probably. Like if my wife is watching it, I'll sit down and watch it. You know what I mean? It's not something I'll go in the other room and occupy myself on the computer. Like I'll sit down and
Okay.
watch Pitch Perfect, like Easy A, Mean Girls. Yeah, I'll sit down and watch those.
Well, we're talking about musicals,
Yeah, but
unless those are as well.
no, 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 no. Those were just
Oh,
like
okay.
stuff that my wife will randomly watch that I won't run away from. And
Oh,
Pitch
yeah.
Perfect,
We'll have to
Pitch,
have that discussion another time.
yeah, yeah. But Pitch Perfect, they're all one of those ones that she's watched often enough, and if I
Yeah,
walk in the room, I'm watching it. So I've probably seen it a handful of times. Might have watched it once or twice on my own. Don't judge me.
I
They're
will. 100%.
they're actually pretty funny, and like the songs, if I'm not mistaken, like they're kind of just like I want to. I feel like they're almost kind of like Glee, like to where they're like actual songs, and they they do a pretty good job at like actually making you give a crap about like, that's not bad. Even if it's a
So
song you don't like, it's not bad.
you watch Glee as well?
My wife used to watch it, so I've seen some. I didn't really care for that show though. I didn't. It was kind of boring. Like it
Okay.
was too like teenage drama, and I get why people love the performances. Like, yeah, most people are gonna really really like that stuff. If this is what they are into, they're gonna love what they did. But it wasn't me. Like it wasn't the stuff I listened to. I didn't like the stuff they did with it, but I can see why other people did, and I understand why people like that show. But I don't know. I
Okay.
think it was kind of garbage.
All right. Well, let's get into action and story for the at least the two Bollywood movies that you saw.
Yeah.
Um, so the action, they kind of do a lot of wire work, what it seems like, where somebody would just like smack somebody in the head and they would just like bounce off the floor like they're a ping pong ball. Or they would just like backhand them and they would go flying and break the wall or boxes or whatever. So there's a lot of like practical movements with their like hits, but it's so over exaggerated it almost goes into
Yeah.
the realm of like CG.
Yeah. Like it even gives you kind of like an anime vibe to an extent.
Yes,
It's
very
like,
much so.
yeah, you just see certain things happen. You're like, am I watching a live action anime? Like, wait a minute, what are they doing? Like, it's almost so out of place, but then you stop and you're like, it kind of fits.
Yeah. So there's another movie that I'll probably eventually get you to watch called Singham. And
Eventually,
it,
yeah.
yeah, and he's a cop that is fighting criminals. There's this one part. That's what made me watch the movie was I saw a clip somewhere of him on a pier, and he's just like wiggling one of the lampposts on the pier until he snaps it off. And then he goes and fights the criminals with it and like smashes one of them in the head with it and it explodes the bulb. And it's just like, what in the world is he doing? And then he proceeds to like just beat the snot out of all of them. And it was like, they probably shouldn't have disturbed his little doc visit.
Kind of like in Boss, where he's just smacking the crap out of everybody for no reason out of nowhere.
Well, he had a reason. They kept
Well,
like
no, no, no.
interrupting him.
No, even the guy that didn't interrupt him got smacked because he basically told him,
You
you better
better say
answer
it.
me. You better
And
answer me."
then he
Yeah, so
says it and he gets smacked too.
yeah, so that's a setup. He was smacking people for no reason. He was just smacking people around because he could.
They kept interrupting him.
Yeah, that was real fair.
Yeah.
Answer me now. Wait a
Uh,
minute. I don't
no,
know.
no, no, no. Answer. All right. Whack. So, action is just fantastic.
It's definitely like it kind of reminds you of like the style of like a Matrix type movie, but with like the
Yes.
budget of like an 80s or 90s movie.
Yeah.
So it's like certain things are obviously practical, but then it's just kind of over the top. And it's like, like wire work and stuff, like you said, some
Oh
of
yeah.
it's got to be just like, we're just going to yank you into this wall. And then they
Yeah.
do just,
Those stuntmen. Holy crap.
oh, yeah.
Some of the hits they take is like, we're gonna have you backflip into this fountain and continually flip until you smash it.
Yeah.
It's like
Like,
what?
it's definitely extremely entertaining.
Oh yeah, yeah. It catches your attention.
Oh, definitely. What was the one where I think we were talking about it not too long ago, where the guy turns into like, it's like robot or something like that.
Yes, yeah,
He turns into like a big ball.
yes. He has like clones of himself.
Yeah, and they all pull out like guns while they're in this giant sphere.
Yeah.
Like I remember whatever that one is. I remember seeing that and thinking, what in the heck is going on here? Like this is so ridiculous, but I have to watch it. And I could just never find out what it was. I've heard it's
Well,
like robot something.
yep. Robot and Robot 2.0.
That's what
Supposedly
it
they were
is.
gonna come out with a third one, which I'm excited to watch.
They're not on Netflix, are they?
I think they're on Amazon Prime right now. At least one
Oh,
of them was.
nice.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, I do wish they would do some like dubbing, just because I'm old enough now. I don't want to read movies.
There's
Like
some of them. There's
that
like Happy New Year was dubbed.
there was I had a little bit of English here and there, but I didn't have a dub option.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't completely dubbed.
So yeah, there was some like English in it almost, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some of
That's
that
that's part of the story too. Is that girl like was head over heels for someone that speaks English, and he knew English, so
yeah.
he would just like start speaking in like random words.
Yeah.
Microsoft, uh, operating system is fantastic. And she's like, "Oh, wow."
Yeah, yeah. He's like, you don't even know what he's saying.
Yeah, and then she's just like, "Whatever."
Yeah, like, oh, I don't need like I know he's speaking English. I don't know what he's saying. Like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, because every time he got in trouble, he would speak English to her. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
What's her
yeah.
name? Mo
No, I can't even remember most of their names.
Mori, something like that. So let's get into story. Um, how was the story develops for you?
Well, they were both like really really well thought out. And they
Yeah.
were both like good stories. Like the end conclusion, you kind of pieced it together. They did a good job at like letting you piece it together but still being surprised at the end. And they do, like, especially the first one, the boss, like you kind of see that there's this story with these siblings being told, and it's pretty obvious that like it involves this little group of people. You just got to figure out which two are the brothers, and you figure it out pretty quick. But
Hmm.
it's still like it's almost like you forget about it, and then when it pops up down the line, you're like, "Oh crap, that's his brother," and you're like, "Oh yeah, that's right, that's his brother." Like it
Hmm.
was just the way they were able to do that, just like surprise you, but show you the whole time was really creative. It was really good. It just like you got kind of sucked into the story so much that you forgot about other things because there was just other stuff going on.
Which I enjoyed a lot that they did like a story, and you get to enjoy the character's development and see it unfold. Unlike like Hollywood today where it's politically charged, it's whatever charged, it's just a a slog and a chore to watch the thing, and you don't care about anybody. Whereas
Yeah.
this one, they make you like get invested with the character, going, "Oh man, I hope he wins," or "Ah, dang, that's his dad getting trounced. What the?"
It, there definitely are some like cheesy moments, but it doesn't take away from the story they're trying to tell. Like it's easily looked over. Like, oh crap, I was thinking about something that in the New Year's
Hmm.
Happy New Year. Like where it's like, oh, all we have to do is enter this competition because we can rig it, no big deal. And then it's like, oh no, we can't rig it. There's judges, and then they're like, oh, we have to win, and then they're like losing, and then they
Yeah.
don't make it. But then it's like every scenario they lose, but then 5 seconds later they've got another plan and everything works out. Like that whole trope was cheesy, but they really pulled it off somehow. Like I was like, all right,
Well, he also planned it for 8 years, so every option he kind of like had in a backup plan for,
yeah, but at the
except for the
same
one part
time,
where that dude had to go and throw up in that room.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And how they didn't get the same room the second time around or whatever.
Yeah, and then that guy just upchucks, and then they're all, "Oh, we can't be in here."
Yeah, yeah.
That time he didn't plan out.
But see, that's the thing though. Even that being said, like you you could definitely argue that. Like I see what you're saying,
Yeah,
but every time you're like, there's no way. Like there's no way they can come back from that. They came back from it. You can only do that once or twice usually. They did it a couple times and they still got away with it. Like just the way they did everything. And then like the the big reveal at the end of
yeah,
like how they deal with the things that kind of go wrong.
uh-huh.
And like it was definitely like
It was a good ending.
it kept you on the edge of your seat. It
Yeah.
was a little bit of a longer movie for all the song and dance, in my opinion.
Oh man.
Like if you could have took a little bit of that off, it didn't need to be like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. Probably could have been 2 hours or just under, and it would have been just as good. But like it didn't feel like it was super long. You know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah.
well paced. They did a good job with everything. So it wasn't
Okay,
really
well,
too bad.
let's get into Happy New Year first. So, out of the two, I like Happy New Year more. It's kind of like an Ocean's movie, like the Ocean's 11, 12, 13, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a kind of like a heist revenge movie, which is just so much fun. And then they have this dynamic of they're trying to enter a dance competition. So they have to have like good moves, but at the same time, he's like, no, we'll just hack it. So it doesn't matter if we win or lose. We'll still make it. So he has these plans that he had executed throughout the movie to get it accomplished. And it just so much fun. Just so much fun. Like in the very beginning, where he's like fighting for money and he's just like getting the snot beat out of him until he like turns it around. Was
Wasn't
like,
he supposed to throw that fight?
yeah, he was, but at the same time, he doubled down on himself more with the money that he got from somebody else, so he could run his operation.
Okay. I thought he was just running for his life from those people because he owed the bookie.
Well, he did. That's why he left right after. And then he started getting his crew, which, oh my goodness, they are some odd ones.
It's a pretty fun like group of
Group,
like goofy dudes all to be doing this together with.
yeah. And you could kind of tell that they had a lot of fun making this thing.
Yeah, I mean they definitely have what is it called? Chemistry. They all had
Yeah,
really good chemistry together.
yeah. You had the one ear deaf big guy. You had the chubby Casanova. You had the hacker, and then you had that dude that puked all over the place. Well, I guess he didn't puke all over the place. He puked on command. I guess what it was.
What about the guy that had the seizures?
Yeah, that's the chubby Casanova. If you remember,
Oh, that's
all the
right, because all
ladies
the
liked
older
him.
ladies
Older
were
ladies, that's right.
yeah. There's yeah. And his mom was always yelling at him.
Yeah.
That like how
Get out of here with your underwear, mom, mom.
that was like his dance was like him season.
Yeah, his Caesar dance.
Yeah, that was I was like, oh my gosh, but it was funny. Like,
Yeah, they made it work.
yeah, it definitely worked out somehow because he was like, okay, every time. Like you got to a point to where if it happened, you weren't even worried. Like if that was real life, you'd be like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
But like instantly they make you okay with it because it's just like everything's perfectly fine every time, and I don't know how,
Yeah, but
but
he does it a lot in the movie too. Like whenever he gets stressed,
yeah,
he
and that's
goes
the
into this
thing.
like seizure fit.
Yeah, how they kind of explain it is, part of the reason they get away with it. They do kind of say how like he's getting stressed out or something like that, and it induces it.
They had a lot of character development for a lot of the characters. Like thinking about it some more, except for the hacker one. He was just there, kind
Wasn't he
of.
somebody's nephew or something like that?
Yeah, I think he was
Somebody's
the
kid brother.
big guy, the one with the one ear, or deaf in one ear. I think he was his like nephew.
Never say, yeah, he's somebody's nephew or something like that, or somebody's brother, little brother or something. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, but that worked out well. The the club scene where you first like introduced to him, where he screwed up that DJ songs, and then they're gonna beat him up, and then his cousin or whatever shows up. What's his name? Jag.
Yeah, I
Jag
think
shows
so.
up and beats everybody up because they make fun of his mother.
And I feel like they didn't lean into that one as much as they should have.
They did a little bit in the beginning.
That's what I mean.
Not
I feel like it should have popped up once or twice at the end, and it didn't. And now, like, because as we were sitting here talking, it did come to my mind, like you were talking about the guy that's like half deaf. I'm like, oh yeah, because everybody would talk about his mom and he'd freak out. And I was like, wait a minute,
yeah,
they didn't really do. They just did that a couple times in the beginning, and then that was it.
yeah.
I almost kind of forgot that he had like hearing problems.
But they used it a few times. Like whenever he got super angry, steam would come out only one ear instead of
Oh,
two.
okay, yeah. Yeah, yep, that is true. That was pretty funny. It's like that's a good example of like the just really over the top and goofy stuff that pops out of nowhere, but you're
Yeah,
like, all right, like somehow it works. I don't know how it works, but
it's
it
because it was set up. That's good storytelling.
yeah.
When they were like describing him, saying, "Oh yeah, he's deaf in one ear," and as they're saying that, the guy yelling for him, he's like, "Jag, Jag!" And he's deaf in that ear. He can't hear him, so he walks the other side of his head in the background. He's like, "Jag, the director wants you," and then he hears him and he turns around. Even though that's not how that works, but it
Yeah,
was kind of interesting how they played that out.
how they showed it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely that's got to be what it is. Just the little things in the background that you don't necessarily notice. You notice, like I know they said he was hard of hearing,
hmm
but when the steam came out, like I wasn't even thinking about it. It's like it popped back into my memory. I was like, oh yeah, he
yeah.
can only hear out of one ear. So it's like it's another one of those scenarios where they're able to make you feel like you're just realizing something that you already knew.
And then the part where he's like gets upset and he's like blew off his shirt and he's like, "What about your sleeves?" And he's like, "Ah!" And his sleeves go flying off.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so random. Huh?
It's like the most off the wall stuff that they do, they're able to do it in such a funny way
Yeah.
that like you're completely behind it. You're like, all right, yeah, that was good. That was acceptable. Like I'm not going to be upset with how random and out of nowhere that was.
Yeah. It
Um,
fit the situation if you watch it.
yeah, unless it's a music video, then I completely shut down.
No, all of those fit extremely well.
I mean, for the most part, this one
Ex- Except for
was
one. And we're going to be talking about it in Boss. Are you ready?
yes.
Okay, so in Boss, the only one song that kind of was annoying, and it definitely went on too long, was the party one.
Oh, that was the worst.
That one was annoying. It
Yeah.
was like they wanted to show a dance club and they're partying, but the like chorus part is partying all the time, partying, 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 and they do it like 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. They keep like repeating that catchphrase, and oh, that one hurt. That one actually hurt. But all the
See,
other ones fit the movie.
and this is a good way that maybe I can make you understand.
Uh huh.
Almost every little dance number and
Uh huh.
music video that comes
Yeah.
on
Yep.
makes me feel the way that song makes you feel.
Nope. That is untrue.
That's how I feel every time. I'm like, I don't like it. This is all way too much and it makes no sense.
It makes perfect sense. Like, how are
That
you supposed to know he's the boss if he doesn't have a theme song? Where he's dancing out in the desert, driving gold cars and riding
now
them on two wheels.
don't get me wrong. If you did that once or twice, you could easily get away with it. In my opinion, it's just a little too much. If you're watching, I think both of these movies were at least 2 hours. If you're watching a
Yeah.
2 hour movie, there's
Yeah.
going to be at least five dance numbers and songs.
Sure.
So whether it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, there's going to be like five or six dance numbers. And it's really, at least in the other one, like it was about a dance competition.
Right. But
So it
all
felt
of them,
way more appropriate.
all of them are going to be like that.
You all right? Drink some water.
I did. My lungs wanted to drink it too. Golly.
Made it worse.
It did. Ugh.
You're like, I'll just get some water real quick. It'll knock this out.
Yeah, like, oh, yeah. All right. Um, so Boss had a lot of going for it. It was a buildup of like he is the boss of a criminal organization. He has like one a boss above him, but he's trying to get back into the good graces of his dad. That kind of like banished him.
Almost like a good versus evil type of dynamic with like, don't become a criminal, but my dad banished me type of thing, and this is all I can do. So they kind of play that dynamic.
Yeah, yeah. And he's supposed to be like a good criminal, but
Yeah.
um yeah, the bad guy in this one kind of reminds me of like the Super Trooper dude with the mustache. I guess there's a few of them with a mustache.
They all have mustaches.
Yeah, that wasn't a good
Is
comparison.
it Farva,
Not Farva,
the
the other
leader cola
one.
guy?
Uh,
Gosh, it's been a long time since I've seen that one. Oh,
yeah.
why? It's so good. The second one wasn't half as good, but it was all right.
I can't remember his name.
I can't remember any of their names for some Rabbit. Rabbit was one of them. The
Not
rookie.
Rabbit. They're like in a fire department one now. The two of them.
Yeah, I can't remember his name in the movie.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't remember your name. But he looks like him, but he speaks Indian.
I could see that.
And he is the cop, which is kind of like the corrupt cop. So he's kind of like the bad guy in this. And you definitely see why he's the bad guy in the beginning of when you first meet him. And then it's just like story development.
And that's what's really good about these movies when it comes to their stories. Like, I kind of forgot about that part of the story. Like, they're able to have so much going on, but it all makes sense on how it kind of intertwines with the rest of the story, so much so that you can forget about little details here and there, and it doesn't really drastically impact the actual story overall. But it's just something small, like, yeah, the like there was like the corrupt cop, but then they focus on the brother story for a little while, so it's like there's
Which
multiple stories being told.
then gets intertwined with the corrupt cop.
Yeah, yeah,
So unlike Beetlejuice, where you're having these different stories that are just like separate,
and make no sense being crammed together.
yeah, this one has these two different kind of stories going of the two brothers that are eventually getting intertwined with the cop story,
And that's the
which
crazy
then,
thing
yeah,
with Boss. I
yeah,
I remember mainly the brother story. That's what stuck out the most, because it's like I did kind of forget about the villain for the most part, because the
but
story
that's
about the brothers and everything was really memorable.
right. But that's the thing is the brother story got put together because you have the villain story affecting one of the brothers.
Oh yeah,
So
but
it's like intertwining it, and then it actually becomes a full-fledged story of okay, now we have bad guy, good guy becoming a challenge to the good guy that's bad.
yeah, the brothers, they stick out to me more than the actual like villain. Like, I don't really see him. Like, I kind of remember what he looked like when you were kind of talking about who he looks like,
Hmm.
but the brothers, like I can see them. The guy, the
Yeah,
main dude, boss, like,
yeah.
yeah, I could see a picture of him and know exactly that's the dude. I think the other people were more memorable to me in the story. But yeah, I mean, like, there is a villain, and I just don't, it's almost like he was faceless to me in a way.
Okay. Well, I thought he was pretty integral part of the story. Uh,
He was important, but I feel like it could have been played by anybody, and I wouldn't have noticed it got changed. show me that same movie with somebody else playing his part, I probably wouldn't even notice that it had changed.
Mm,
Like, I feel like the actor himself is just that
I don't
forgettable.
know. I don't know. I thought he was pretty impressive of being like nonchalant, doesn't care if he's breaking the law type of character.
His character wasn't necessarily too bad. I just think he just had a forgettable face.
Oh.
Just compared to like how kind of animated everybody else was, especially the boss.
Yeah.
Like he was pretty animated, and I just feel like with all those other characters, he must have just kind of like phased out in a way to where
I don't know. I think we need to rewatch it.
that one has too much music in it.
It'll have music in it.
Yeah, but that one's just way too much. I don't know if I can do that one.
All right.
Can't, okay, maybe like if I can like pull it up on Netflix and like cut out all the music, then maybe we'll talk.
Mm-hmm. You can't.
I don't know, maybe. We'll see.
Yep, I don't think that's possible. All right.
I'll
So,
buy it and then edit it on the computer just to make a point.
no fry. No.
It'll be better. That's what I'll do. I'll buy one of these movies, edit it to where the musicals are gone, and we can watch both versions and we can see if it actually changes anything.
It does. It'll be boring.
Uh I'm gonna do it. If I do it, you have to watch it.
If you do it, I'll watch it.
Oh man, that's gonna be a lot of work. Dang it, now I gotta do it.
No, you don't.
I gotta do it. I gotta do it now.
Okay. Let's give a quick ranking to the boss and Happy New Year. 1 through 5. 1, never again. 2, uh, almost okay. Okay. Want to watch it again, and fantastic. Recommend it. 5. So, boss for me is 5. Happy New Year is 5. They are both fantastic movies, and I recommend them to people to watch if they want to get into Bollywood movies. Watch those movies. They're hilarious. They're wild, fun stories. It's quite a ride. Bry, what's your ranking for Boss?
So the first thing I'll say is story wise for both of them. If I were to just talk about story alone,
Mm-hmm.
they're both fives. Like they're great
Mm-hmm.
stories. They do a
Mm-hmm.
great job at telling them.
Mm-hmm.
But I
All
think
over together, music, dancing, singing.
but but but
Uh-huh.
I would say a 4 for Happy New Year
Okay. Yeah.
because
It's
it
fantastic. Yeah.
it is fantastic. It's a great story and kind of like it does have that. I remember watching the Ocean movies and like the
Uh-huh.
first one they did, and it does have that cool reveal type moment to it, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't if you're not into musicals, if you don't like musicals, you might not like it at all. You might just be like, I'm done because I don't like musicals, and I got that way once or twice with both of them, even though I really enjoyed a lot of stuff about them. But I
Mm-hmm.
will say Boss to me was a little bit worse than
Mm-hmm.
Happy New Year. And I think maybe it was just because the dancing and everything fit in a little bit better with a movie about a dance competition.
Okay.
But if I had to recommend one over the other, it'd definitely be Happy New Year.
Hmm.
Would
So
I
what's your rating
necessarily?
on Boss?
It would definitely be like, I would say probably a 3. There
Okay.
were there were moments that I was kind of like, there are big chunks of this that I don't need to know. Like, half of this song can be cut out. This song isn't even needed. But ultimately, the story was really good. I just wish it wouldn't have took so long for them to tell it to me.
Yeah. Well, there's a few more in our Bollywood repertoire that we can watch that we might cover at another time. Is RRR. That's a 3 hour long movie.
I'll have to watch a trailer for that one, but it is somewhat recommended.
Yes, it's a good one. Bahubali 1 and 2, which is kind of like a big time war movie, battles, uh,
Oof.
catapulted shield into a ball that disperses and fights people over the wall.
Hmm.
And then the last one should be Singham.
Well, we
And that's
also gotta
almost.
gotta throw the Robot and Robot 2.0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those they
So
look
we
so
got.
ridiculous. I have to see them. They
So
look
we got like
so just
four.
out of here.
We got like four movies to watch. 4 or 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we got to break them up though. I don't know if I could do straight Bollywood for like a month and a half.
Well, yeah, for sure. We got other ones that we need to cover.
We got to check on Prometheus. We still got to watch that one, see if that's not as expensive anymore.
Prometheus.
Oh no, Romulus.
Oh, Romulus. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking Prometheus. Probably because my little figure's right here in front of me, and I was thinking
Ah,
about Alien. That's the excuse I'm going with.
yeah. We'll stick to that one. Uh, well, make sure that you can catch us on YouTube and or Spotify and any other places, Fry.
Not yet. That's it. Just the 2 right now. I'm working on the rest of them.
Okay,
Slowly
fantastic.
but surely.
And then it's always good to see you. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.